We would invite all who would care to join us in the recitation of the Lord's Prayer, followed by a moment of silence. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
It is now 7 o'clock. Shelby City Council meeting is called to order. Please join the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated, please. Roll call, please.
Mr. Robb.
Here.
Mr. Roberts. Here. Mr. Cutler. Here. Mr. Martin.
Here.
Mr. Gordon. Here.
I will now entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal from February the 20th, 2024.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin to dispense with the reading of the journal from February 20th, 2024. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Robb.
Yay.
Mr. Roberts.
Yay.
Mr. Cutler.
Yay.
Mr. Martin.
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yay.
That motion passes. Now comes the time for public comment. If anyone has any public comment to make to the council, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and make your public comment, please.
My name is South Hall. I live in Shelby, Ohio. Proverbs 6:31. If a man steals from you, but if he is found out, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all of the substance of his house. People who don't know me might think my animosity is unfounded, so I seek to clear up this misconception. Some may say that I have an attitude. To this I say, no, I do not. I have a conditioned reflex. I have been victimized by the corporation of Shelby for too many years. And now you've gone too far. You have used my property to terrorize me, set me up for prison for 10 months, put me in there. Refused to fulfill your legal obligation to present the court with my exculpatory evidence. When I requested evidence, you and your chief of police contacted probation. I got a probation officer. Your analysis in my house was searched for asking for evidence. All in an effort to put me in a jail to die there. I failed to show up for 6 interviews. And a cop, Tim Scott, wrote, at this time, we will be closing the case due to an uncooperative victim. Numerous attempts have been to interview South, who claims to have information where his motorcycle parts are located. South continued to claim that nobody will help him in this matter, but it appears that he is his only one standing in his way. Officer Swisher appeared to have followed up on any leads provided by South. On the bottom right of the bottom of the page, I received a voicemail South stating that he was unavailable to do an interview, to the fact that it's all a setup. To get him arrested, a copy of the voicemail will be put with the case. I can't get a copy of it. Swisher arrived on scene with no evidence kit whatsoever, removed 2 non-porous plastic cards from the floor left by Darrell Hall. I left them there undisturbed. When he slid them into his pocket, this destroyed the fingerprints. And then he removed the 2 cards with documenting registration numbers. Later he falsified a police report and backdated it, lying about an interview Duke and Duchess owners. Less than a month ago, I found out where my Harley was sitting. And I knew if I went to get my motorcycle, your corrupt employees would send me back to a prison cell to die there. Your dispatcher asked me whose motorcycle, stolen motorcycle, have you located? After I said mine, she disconnected the call. Nobody's here to take the report, she said. Stay where you are. I drove to the residence where my stolen motorcycle was, and there sat your chief of police. I didn't even tell him where my motorcycle was yet. I told nobody. He just sat there, blocking my entrance, depriving me of my civil rights under the color of law. But what can you do? People just following orders, right? Doing the same thing over and over is the definition of insanity. 6 times I have found my Harley Davidson. 6 times I have reported it to your cops or their friends. 4 in Shelby and 2 in Tyro. All 6 times, good little Nazis just following orders left them my property.
Mr. Hall.
Let them keep it.
Mr. Hall.
So are you?
Mr. Hall.
What?
Excuse me just a minute. This is just a warning.
What?
Under our rules, you cannot use discouraged language or make disrespectful, profane, threatening, or discouraged language.
Who did I threaten?
Courteous, avoid discussing personalities. Calling someone a Nazi is not acceptable.
Do you know what
So
I find
please-
unacceptable? The
please,
fact
sir.
that I reported your chief of police letting the house burn down. The next week, you nominate him for a beautification of a neighborhood award.
Mr. Hall, you may speak, but please abide by the rules.
So what words am I not allowed to say? Being that you're the arbiter of
You
rules.
cannot call someone Nazi.
I can't,
No,
even if they act like a Nazi.
no, sir.
But you act like
And
a Nazi.
that's a false accusation.
No, it is not. Sue me.
You may continue, but please keep it.
Thank you, Your Highness. You want me to bow in front of you?
Yes, sir.
God has ordained the federal government to preach their agenda. They're not gods. You're crazy, man. Just as you covered up Darrell and Brian Hall stealing my bike, attempting to murder me, and kidnapping, planting drugs, illegal holding me for 10 months, and Mayor, your very nice officers and their snitches, Darrell and Brian Hall, they terrorized me and kept me on a felony probation. You kept me on felony probation while you had my evidence of innocence, withholding it all of the time. 5 years you withheld my evidence. Usually the cover-up, that's worse than the crime. Not so in this case. Chronicled in that interview that I want and you won't let me have. There were crimes that spanned years, and they would put you and several of your employees into jail for a long, long time. After having an hour-long interview with a witness and demanding immunity about my stolen motorcycle, and after reporting to your dispatcher that Darrell and Brian were setting me up and bragging about it, after telling every cop I spoke to that Lance Combs will set me up for a felony to steal my Second Amendment rights to facilitate my demise. You haven't done anything. You're part of the conspiracy paid for by Monica Phillips. Paid this administration, armed men hired to terrorize me or kill me. Bottom of the line, taped interview conducted here contained me saying Lance Combs would set me up to remove my amendments so that I could be killed. I would be defenseless. You have admitted that your employees had my taped interview. It existed. You covered it up. I was begging for protection, man. Same tyrants that were victimizing me, I had to beg for protection. Having broken the social contract, you caused misery and profit for power. You're a paid terrorist, sir. I begged your dispatcher to memorialize the fact that they were bragging about setting me up. She wouldn't even dispatch a car to my house. Habakkuk 2, verse 12. Woe to him who builds a city with bloodshed and establishes a town with injustice. Y'all got some soul searching to do. You set me up. I did 10 months in jail, and y'all had my evidence for 5 years of evidence. I can't believe y'all call yourself Christians. And you call yourself my friend when you write me a letter. My friend? Would you do this to a friend? I'd rather have an honest drunk sitting there than this.
Thank you, sir. Any further public comment about before council? All right, if not, let's move forward to reports from standing special committees. Councilman Block, we have another one this evening. To council of the whole.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think everybody was here for the last meeting about half an hour ago. But just to recap, the committee of the whole has met on 3 occasions. 17 February, 24 February, and tonight at 6:30 to discuss our annual appropriations for 2024. So we went over approximately $40 million in appropriations budget from those three meetings. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Are any comments or questions from Mr. McLaughlin in regard to his report? Hearing none, we'll move forward to Community and Economic Development Committee. Councilman Cobb.
All right, the Community and Economic Development meeting at 3/1/24 at 2 p.m. We talked a little bit more about setting up a strategic plan and working on that. Vicki Moore-Ritchie stopped by from the library to give us a little update there. She gave us some year-end review facts. 32,195 visits to the library. 934 programs offered with 32,701 participants. 213 uses of meeting spaces. 8,263 interlibrary loans. 64,002 items circulated. 17,088 e-books checked out. 7,633 active cardholders with 658 new cardholders. 4,160 public computer sessions, 2,082 Facebook followers. So they had quite a productive year. It's pretty impressive. They have 3 meeting spaces that are free to rent. One of those in the basement within the next couple of weeks. We'll have a kitchenette redone in it. On March 15th at 6 p.m. they will have a murder mystery. And in March they are doing the I Did a Read contest. And towards the end of it, on the 18th at 6 p.m., they will have a team of sled dogs come to the library. That'll be fun. And then the last thing I got is Westmeyer Farms had a ribbon cutting on this past Friday. And that's all from our report.
Thank you, Mr. Cutler. Are there any comments or questions for Mr. Cutler in regard to his report? Thank you, sir. We'll move forward to Public Works and General Operations Committee. Councilman Robb.
The committee met on the 27th and discussed a number of items, first of which was the need for the Building and Grounds Commission. You remember the commission came into being as part of this complex, actually, to see that through, to first find an area to build it, and then help with the levy campaign and so on and so forth. Currently, we have no plans to add any more buildings to the city's infrastructure. So basically, the commission is no longer needed, and there's some legislation here tonight to formally disband that, if you will. And the next thing we talked about were some charter amendments concerning the various city offices. If you study the charter a little bit, you'll see that there are different times involved in when the officers are to be, the elected officials are to go into office. And Mr. Eister is looking into some possible amendments to those to get it a little bit more consistent, I believe. Mr. Dean talked to us a little bit about some properties on 2nd Street that the land bank has some concern with. One of them, I think he said, was demolished, and possibly another one seeking help from the land bank to do something with their properties, and then update us a little bit on the Lee Street improvements. And as you all have seen, demolition has started on the building at 52 East Main Street. There is date update for the opening of the Seltzer Pool. That's on their website. You can go there to see that. We talked a little bit about the sidewalk program. And lastly, the Humphrey annexation went to the Planning Commission for approval, and I believe there's some legislation tonight concerning that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Rob. Are there any comments or questions for Mr. Rob in regard to his report? Hearing none, thanks again. We'll move forward then. The parking committee did not meet. So we'll move on to reports of city officials, report from the mayor. Since our last meeting, I've been occupied with typical mayoral duties and delights. On February the 22nd, Councilman Cutler, Councilman McLaughlin, Mr. Don Ensman, and I attended a public meeting in Crestline regarding a possible train station to be located there. The 27th, Mr. Geis and I met with an Ohio regional development official concerning another community housing improvement program grant application. On the 28th, I joined others from Shelby and Richland County for a meeting of the Richland County Regional Planning Commission in Mansfield. On the 29th, I gathered with fellow Richland County mayors for an enjoyable and profitable meeting in Lucas. On March the 1st, I turned the calendar page and I joined with many public officials and friends for, as Mr. Cutler mentioned, the ribbon cutting event at Westmeister Farms located on Plymouth Spring Mill Road. This unique family farm attraction has yielded positive outcomes for the city of Shelby by way of shared tourist activity from out of state. You mentioned how many people come from out of state, and they have, through anecdotal evidence, have come into the city of Shelby for some further, either at the vault or making candles or whatever, some different activities inside the city limits. So it's a nice win-win for us. Chief Combs informed us that two new Shelby City Schools school resource officers and their officers have been carefully selected by the police department. Officer Hannah Hall will serve as the primary and Officer Cody Baker as the backup. Pleased to announce that Shelby has received the Tree City USA recognition once again, and we want to thank everyone who has worked diligently to check all the boxes to see that our legacy of tree stewardship continues. And that, gentlemen, is my report. Are there any comments or questions for me? If not, we'll move forward to Mr. Crum, Director of Finance.
Thank you, sir. You have all heard way too much from me in the last few weeks with appropriations. I am grateful for everyone, both the council and the various departments, and especially the Deputy Finance Director, for all of their hard work to help get that $40 million on the page there. Grateful for all of that. In addition to that, a lot of year-end reports have been filed. The audit is well underway, so we're very busy getting information for that. Additionally, as I will keep reminding, tax season is now upon us, so if all the residents of the city could file a tax return by April 15th, I would be grateful. That's certainly all I have, though.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Crum. Are there any comments or questions for Mr. Crum in regard to his report? All right, move forward then to Mr. Gordon Eister, Law Director.
Thank you, Mayor. No report tonight.
Good. Move forward to Mr. Joe Geis, Project Coordinator.
Thank you, Mayor. I talked to the contractor for the Seneca Wyandotte Sewer. He plans on starting that April 1st. As we mentioned before, they did start the demolition of the building, 52 East Main Street. That went very well, better than they expected. So now they're pulling the wall off the east side there now, and then they've got to clean up the whole side on the Eagles property and then fill it all in. All the debris will be taken out, fill in with dirt and then planted grass. So they'll be out of there. So very good project. looking forward to talking about paving tonight and so forth and getting that on the books, so that's all I have.
Mr. Geis? Comments or questions from Mr. Geis in regard to his report? Mr. Martin?
Just on the demolition, I noticed that the I-beam is still across there. Yeah, I'm assuming that will be removed as a part of it too, but they're waiting to do it last.
Mr. Geis?
That's correct, yeah, they're gonna get, I think they're gonna work on getting all the debris down off that wall, and then they're gonna clean all out, put fill in, and they'll get rid of that.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Geis. We move on to new business. Is there any new business to be brought before council this evening? Hearing none, move forward to old business, unfinished business rather. The Purple Heart Trail, we are awaiting a proof of signage, and when that does come to our office, we'll be ordering the signs for the Purple Heart City recognition. So that's moving forward, and I think Mr. McLaughlin has mentioned maybe in May, we may see some visitors from the Purple Heart group. So everything seems to be moving forward as we look forward to that recognition. And the future use of the Main Street Fire Station is pretty much the same as last time. It still has municipal use, primarily storage at this point, some fire department storage. You know, as we move forward into the nicer weather, maybe there'll be discussions of what can be done, what should be done. But as for right now, in this cold winter weather of March, we'll just leave it as it is. I was just teasing. Is anybody listening? All right. All right. Any other unfinished business? Mr. Martin?
Just I had a question. I know we have the parking ad hoc committee, of course, ad hoc means as needed. So do we have any kind of sense of timeline, or is it still needed, one, but also do we have a sense of a timeline of when we'll be able to get a report?
Let me check into that, and I'll get back. Mr.
We're compiling information right now, and once that's all done, we will have a meeting, and then we will bring findings to council. It's taken a little bit to get all the pieces in place, but we are working on it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Roberts. Didn't have to wait long for that. All right.
Perfect.
Good question.
Thank you.
Any other unfinished business? All right, now move forward to legislation. Mr. Crum?
Ordinance number 2, 2024, repealing chapter 290, Buildings and Grounds Commission of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Shelby.
Go for first reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Robb and a second by Mr. Martin for the first reading of ordinance number 2, 2024. Discussion. Mr. Martin?
My apologies. I probably should have asked this during the committee report. Do we anticipate any time in the future, like reenacting this? I know right now there's no immediate plans for new buildings, but in the future, like if we needed a new fire station or something like that, is this a good tool to have on the books, or we're just like, that's so far in the future, let's just get it off the books?
I'll hand it over to Mr. Gates.
Okay.
When I talked to the mayor about this one, he should have someone on this committee. So it is a process to find people to serve, and then they sit and they forget about it and they don't know anything about it. When I was on some other committee, I talked to the village mayor of, the village administrator of Dublin. He said what he likes to do is create a task force. So they have one specific job, and then when they're done, they're done. They still go through the process of getting approved by council, but they have a specific task, and then it's not a ordinance on the books and having to find someone to, sit over on committee and not be needed, so.
Almost like ad hoc in a sense.
Yeah.
So I think the task force fits better.
That's my question.
Any further, Mr. Crum?
Is the task force still subject to open meeting laws?
I believe so. Mr. Mr. Martin?
It would be really like an ad hoc committee type situation, so yeah, all the
100%.
sunshine laws would apply.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Rob?
Yay.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Barton?
Yay?
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
The ordinance number 2, 2024 passes its first reading.
Ordinance number 3, 2024, establishing a zoning classification for property annexed to the city of Shelby, home-free annexation.
Move first reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the first reading of ordinance number 3, 2024. Discussion? Mr. Geis.
This property was annexed in, and, I guess it's kind of my fault, we kind of forgot to do this part of it. So, planning commission did meet, and they're recommending R1. All of this area here, if you see my arrows, inside the city, it's all R1. This is outside the city on this side. This is the parcel right here, that we're talking about. So, with everything that's going on here with R1, the planning commission recommended R1.
Mr. Cutler.
I assume we already have public utilities out there.
Mr. Geis.
He is connected to the water line. We still have to get him connected to the sewer line.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Rob?
Yay.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay?
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Ordinance number 3, 2024 passes its first reading.
Ordinance number 4, 2024, enacting chapter 217 and impermissible expenditures of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby.
Move first reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Martin and a second by Mr. Cutler for the first reading of ordinance number 4, 2024. Discussion? Mr. Martin.
Mayor, I would like to move with unanimous consent to make the following amendments. In the first whereas clause, diversity, equity, and inclusion trainings would be replaced with discriminatory activities. In 217.01, diversity, equity, and inclusion would be replaced with the discriminatory activities.
Pardon me, where was that at, Mr. Martin?
217.01.
Okay. Just give me a moment or two to put those in.
Not a problem. I also have my chicken scratch version for the,
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
under number 2A, quote-unquote, diversity, equity, and inclusion would be replaced with quote-unquote, discriminatory activities. The quote-unquote DEI would be replaced with quote-unquote DA.
Replaced with what?
DA.
Capital D, capital A?
That's correct. Delta Alpha.
Okay.
In bullet point number 3, DEI will be replaced with DA. And bullet point number 4, DEI will be replaced with DA.
That is all? This one?
Yes.
By unanimous consent, changes to the wording, I think you pretty well have them on there in the first whereas, diversity, equity, and inclusion trainings to be stricken and replaced with discriminatory activities. And then down in, under the enactment, 217.01, in the parentheses, diversity, equity, and inclusion, stricken and replaced with discriminatory activities. And then in paragraph parenthesis 2, parenthesis small a, diversity, equity, and inclusion, replaced with discriminatory activities, and then the DEI in quotation marks, replaced with DA in quotation marks, and then move down to parenthesis number 4.
3.
Three replaced with the DEI replaced with DA, and then parenthesis 4, DEI replaced with DA. Those are all asked to be, those amendments to be made by unanimous consent. Is there any objections to making those changes? All right, if not, they will be made as stated by Mr. Martin. Further discussion? Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just an effort to ensure, going forward, that nobody within the city is discriminated against because of immutable characteristics. This is obviously, very hits home to me, my family. I have a very diverse family. I have children who are obviously of different color. I have children who also have disabilities. And we live in the greatest country in the world because we firmly believe that the Declaration of Independence is a promise and not a deceit. And that truly, if you work hard and you do what you're supposed to do, that we are a meritocracy, and that people are judged on their merit and what they bring and the value they bring to the table, not those immutable characteristics. And so this basically takes the Civil Rights Act and codifies it for the city of Shelby. I think that's an important thing to do. But I also think that it is a very well-deserved and timely thing to do. There is a definitive perception, albeit my belief, a profane and wrong perception, that our city has a certain way of doing things that would go counter to not only the Declaration, but also the Civil Rights Act. And this is just a part of us saying that, no, that's not the case. Here, meritocracy will rule. It doesn't matter what color you are, belief system you have, you bring value to the table, we value you for who you are as an American. Not the color of your skin, not any other immutable characteristics. And so I think this is an important and timely thing. Like I said, it is deeply personal to me because of my family. And I hope that this allows the city to be a bastion of hope and freedom for them, their grandchildren, their children, and their grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Martin.
We did receive in our packet too a bunch of emails. I do feel it's important to note that we did make the suggested, in paragraph 6, we did make the recommended edits. And those are included already, so there's no need to amend, they're already in.
Mr. Pellet.
Mr. Reiser, have you had an opportunity to look over this?
When I first reviewed it, I did not think it would be advisable to pass. We did pass it along to our outside legal counsel who does all of our, what I'll say, HR work, which I think is what the emails are contained. When we made that referral, I ceased investigating further to rely upon their good judgment. And I think we can see from the last comment from our legal counsel, without waiving any attorney-client privilege, that even with that suggestion, they still have concerns. I would certainly recommend to this council that be fully vetted and approved by legal counsel before passing.
Any further discussion? All right, roll call please for the first reading of ordinance number 4, 2024.
Mr. Rob?
Yay.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Ordinance number 4, 2024 passes its first reading.
Resolution number 8, 2024, authorizing the mayor as Director of Public Safety of the City of Shelby to apply for the training and equipment grant from the Ohio Department of Public Safety for the purchase of emergency medical supplies and declaring an emergency.
Move the resolution be taken up and passed.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the passage of resolution number 8, 2024. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Rob?
Yay.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Resolution number 8, 2024 passes.
Resolution number 9, 2024, approving the plans and specifications and authorizing the mayor as Director of Public Service to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the 2024 paving project within the city of Shelby, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Move the resolution be taken up and passed.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the passage of resolution number 9, 2024. Discussion? Mr. Geis.
Mayor, this project is estimated $618,000. We've been talking about these road things for over a month, but some little intricacies that we've had lots of discussion in administration about is we have a water line project that's scheduled to be awarded officially July 1 with OPWC money. We cannot award that until after July 1. So the thought is we're gonna get that contractor in, because the water main's in the middle of Smiley, get that stub back out of the roadway of Smiley and so forth, and then the paving contractor can come in. So we don't have them starting until August 1st, when school starts August 20th. So we did put some provisions in there that when school starts, to not be working before, it was 8:30, and then out of there again by 2 o'clock, so that way we don't disrupt the buses and kids walking, and so it's not unsafe for them, so. For everything else is just our normal paving process, so.
Thank you, Mr. Geis.
I do have a question.
Mr. Cutler.
When they're tearing that up through there, because the sidewalk just happens to be on the Shelby Avenue side, and there's a lot of kids that go up and down that sidewalk during the school hours. Are they gonna put up like a barrier or something around that, or redirect them somehow so they're not, going over that?
Mr. Geis.
With the water line project, the sidewalk on Shelby Avenue, that curb ramps and those, that's part of that water line. So they get that fixed before the paving process goes in. So they'll get that water line stuff back, fix the curb ramp so the kids can walk down through that before.
Before school's.
Correct.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Rob?
Yay.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Resolution number 9, 2024 passes. Now to miscellaneous business. Is there any miscellaneous business to be brought before council? Mr. Martin.
Mayor, move council adjourn.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Martin, a second by Mr. McLaughlin for adjournment. Roll call, please.
Mr. Rob?
Yay.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Motion passes. Council adjourns at 7:38.
Very impressive work, gentlemen.
Chief,